New York ComicCon 2024 Xtreme style. Get ready, going to walk you through the entire trip, including the Comic Con itself, specifically statues, and the awesome time we had with friends in New York, including some of these guys who asked for my autograph. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Xtreme channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. So, of course, you know, Xtreme style definitely means that me and Mrs. X flew out first class to New York. Now, with first class, you always get a meal, even though they don't really taste that good. But what's really important is that double rum and Coke that both her and I probably had about 16 of. Unfortunately, for Mrs. X, that didn't bode well later. We'll talk about that in a second. But the coolest thing, we flew in Wednesday night, so we got to see the sun setting in the west, and then, of course, the amazing city of New York from above in the east. Now, when we landed around midnight, and Mr. X was so drunk, the only restaurant I could find was Shake Shack, while Mrs. X threw up. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but it did happen. And then we passed out and got to our hotel. So I always do a room tour, and I embed it in the keywords in case someone's looking, hey, what does the Embassy Suites at Manhattan look like in their king suite? Believe it or not, this is actually a suite. So it's pretty dirty because we've been living here for a day. I've been doing Zoom meetings all day, but the bathroom is decent. Pretty nice shower, actually. Good water pressure. Extremely thin walls. You can hear all the people next to you. Like any Manhattan hotel, it's pretty small, but there is this nice sitting area. This actually is a pull-out bed as well, but I was working there all day, so for 9 hours of Zoom calls. They do have a micro fridge and a microwave, which is kind of nice. Not much closet space or drawer space. This is about all you have. Ice bucket and a coffee maker. Some water we picked up at a CVS that's about a 6-minute walk from here. But again, so you can sit there and watch TV. And then, of course, over here is the king-size bed with another television. Has charging ports by the bed as well. Not really any place to store your luggage. Decent view. You have Macy's down in the corner. Also Empire State, straight up, way up there. We're on the 26th floor. Tons of restaurants all over. Late last night, about midnight, the only place open was a Shake Shack, which was 2 or 3 blocks away. There's a Chick-fil-A across the street, Taco Bell. There's a nice pizza place down below we ate at today. But yeah, so kind of lived out of here today, just working. There's Mrs. X. And I was working really hard. So in between 9 hours of Zoom calls, we went down and grabbed a slice. I didn't even care what it was. I still don't know what the fuck kind of meat this was on the pizza, but I didn't see any dogs roaming around New York. But if you're in New York, you definitely have to grab a slice or two of New York style
One
pizza.
nice thing about this location, first of all, they have a reception at 5 o'clock every day that you get 2 free drink tickets. We're actually just killing time right now. That's in about 5 minutes. They have a free made-to-order breakfast, like most Embassy Suites, if you've ever stayed at one. Hilton now owns, I think, all the Embassy Suites, but they can make omelets for you and stuff like that, so it's not like your continental breakfast, like Key and Peele. I'm going to cut out to Key and Peele right now. And lastly, I don't know if I like this or not, but they have a restaurant down below, a little small restaurant. But it has your basic things from sandwiches to burgers to a few other options. They charge you $30 on your room each night, but you can use it there for food and drinks for free. So you get a $30 credit, but they charge you for it, which is it's a smart business strategy in my opinion. But for us, we're not gonna use it. We're only in New York for 3 days. We didn't come to eat at a hotel restaurant. We have some nicer restaurants that you will see.
Then after working all day, we had to go to dinner with some amazing friends, but we decided to walk there, and first place we stopped was Grand Central Terminal. I take that back. First place we stopped was the free happy hour at the hotel, but I wish I went to this happy hour. Look at all that. Before you get on the train, you can get drunk as hell. But what I love about Grand Central Station or Grand Central Terminal is all the movie scenes. So you think about all the different movies that were there. This is where Avengers 1, Hulk punched Thor for the first time. So cool stuff like that. We continued our walk and we went to Midtown Comics. Very famous. I was a little disappointed. It was a cool place, and they had some really neat stuff, including, as you can see, not only action figures, which are right up my alley, not dolls, but action figures, and then, of course, some statues, but it gave me a good taste of what was to come at New York Comic-Con the next day, kind of. But still cool to see a super famous comic shop like Midtown Comics. They had a ton of neat stuff. I think it was just... I think the fact that it was smaller than I thought it would be was weird.
That's what she said.
Then we enjoyed dinner at Smith & Wollensky with some absolutely amazing friends. If you've never been there, it is a fantastic steakhouse. I was a little disappointed because they didn't have the chivalrous, that's not the right word, the showmanship as some of the other Smith & Wollensky's in other cities. But the steak, even though it looks disgusting, was absolutely amazing. Mrs. X was a few drinks in and she forgot to take pictures. I was more than a few drinks in, and that's really evident because by the time we got done eating, we went out here and we took pictures. You can see everybody, Joe and Michelle, myself and Mrs. X. And why are you holding toilet paper, Mr. X? Well, I stole it from the bathroom. Anytime I spend $600 on a dinner, I want to do that. But you can see I'm not the only one that wasn't 3 toilet paper sheets to the wind. Everybody was, especially Joe because he was flying us home. Absolutely amazing time. Can't wait to do it again. Next day, we got to New York Comic-Con, where the best part is, of course, the people. People I've met before, people I've only known virtually. And while I didn't take a lot of pictures because I was busy having fun and signing autographs for people like this, I did take some short videos of the statue booths. There were only 2 of them, so I'm going to give you kind of my raw thoughts. Again, I have these coming out on shorts on the YouTube and TikTok, but this was PCS's newest Transformer piece. I loved this. Well, I don't remember the storyline behind this. I was a huge G1 Transformers fan growing up. The fact that you can mount this on a wall and it tells such a crazy, elaborate, intricate story. I love how innovative PCS is being, not only with these pieces, but some of their other ones like the PCS Carnage and the different licenses. But this was amazing to see in real life. Transformers has a huge following. This was my first time seeing the Darth Maul 1/3 in person. Now, while this was impressive, I've owned a few quarter scale or even 5th scale Darth Mauls in the past. What I really liked about this was the amazing base. It was almost that LBS style base that tells a story. Also came with the switch out torso, as you can see. The lightsaber wasn't lighting up for me, but the base is what makes this piece. Don't get me wrong, Darth Maul has done really well, and I would love to have an entire 1/3 scale Star Wars line. But this is just so incredibly cool. I was pretty impressed. And while I won't be picking this or the Transformers one up, I am tempted on some other pieces. Here is their Lady Death. Now, this was way too sexualized for me, but I liked a lot of things on this. First of all, it looked like the crown was actually floating with Death itself right behind Lady Death. If you're unfamiliar, Lady Death is actually the girlfriend of Thanos. There's a few interpretations of her. They did a half-scale Michael Myers. I have no idea why they did this. Maybe the license is really cheap. I talked to Ant quite a few times, the owner of PCS, who's absolutely amazing. I should have asked him. I know Prime One Studios has already done one. I don't know if they're going to do more in this line. It just seemed out of place, not only in the con, but it probably would be in person. The showstopper for most people was the new Jet Power Optimus Prime. And this should be a showstopper at $4,200. I'm assuming the price tag is huge. I used to own the Prime One Studio Bayformer, where this is a Generation 1, so I love that they did a different take on it, and there's some cool switch outs with it, and really, really impressive in person, mainly because of so much presence. I'm just kidding. It has the same amount of presence as every other statue. But this was really cool to see in person, and I wrote a blog on all these new reveals. However, the absolute showstopper for me was the first time they revealed Michelangelo. They put him with all the other 4 turtles in the 1/3 scale collection, including Shredder. I went and put all these in my cart right away because they looked so good. Unfortunately, I just don't have room to display them. This looks amazing. I did buy the Origins, the little glowing one right in the front there. But what's interesting about these turrets is you can tell that they continually to get better at them as they go through the line, with Mikey being one of the best ones. So very impressed how all these look together. Definitely the coolest part of the show, in my opinion, when it comes to statues. But there's some other cool parts too. I finally got to see their Saber Wolf, which initially I was going to order. By the way, guys, this is huge for a quarter scale. This makes me want to go back and get their William because they did a great job sculpting the fur. However, I'm not a huge Killer Instinct fan. I don't even remember this individual's name. I filmed it, and I can't read it right now. But it's cool they're doing the Killer Instinct line. Hopefully they're going to continue it. But the Crow was awesome, in my opinion. So while the portrait and the hair, there's something a little bit off, nothing to lose sleep over. The pose, the awesome, awesome base with the Easter eggs really makes this statue. And I'm trying to find a reason to justify this 1/3 scale piece from PCS. I did take a quick look down the heads of Pure Arts. Most of the other statues they had on display I've already reviewed before, but really impressive. I saw a lot of these at StatueCon recently. The Golem was the most impressive. Looks freaking just like him. I'm very, very tempted to get that next to my Queen Studios life-size Balrog. But having all these lined up like this, both Lord of the Rings and then, of course, DC, was absolutely amazing for sure. These were the highlights of the con, and after I saw all these and hung out with everybody, we left to have more fun in New York. One of the funnest parts of New York is seeing all the amazing stuff. So of course we do that whenever we're walking anywhere, whether it's the stores or some of the landmarks we're actually going to look at the next day. But Friday, we decided to go to Times Square, hang out with some more friends who also came to the con. They may look familiar. I was signing autographs earlier. And we went to Mason Pickle, which I'd never been to before, but was absolutely amazing. We didn't take a lot of pictures of the food because we were busy fucking eating it. At least some of us were. Jimmy was dying to take this photo, crossing hands, drinking girly drinks. And believe it or not, it was a pretty exhausting day, so we called it quits because the next day, instead of going to New York ComicCon, even though we had tickets, we wanted to see the rest of Manhattan. So everything from the Ding Dang Dong and Home Alone 2, the Apple Store. We put on, I think it was over 10 miles walking that day. Central Park, checked it out. Again, it had been about 5 or 7 years since I've been to a lot of these areas. I don't even know what the hell this was a picture of. Oh, a department store that had a building on it. Of course, Jimmy wanted to go in Trump Tower, and actually I'm glad we did. It was pretty neat on the inside. Secret Service patted me down. They all took turns, so I think they liked me. But it was kind of impressive. Something different. Whether you like or hate the guy, it's something neat to see. And if it's bothering you, I'm showing you these pictures, you probably have TDS. But after checking out Trump, we hit up the major other Radio City Music Hall, Tonight Show. I believe we stopped by the FAO Schwartz, the Today Show, and of course the other famous places like Rockefeller. We'd been to all these places multiple times. Mrs. X and I had with just us. We'd been there with our kids. But it's always pretty cool to see again. Now, because we were so busy checking everything out, we really didn't have time to eat that day. So we got a little bit of sweets, which probably wasn't healthy because once again, we got back in the lounge at the airport to fly home because we had an absolutely amazing time. And I don't remember what happened after that, probably because they brought me more doubles. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are. And that was a wrap for 2024 New York Comic Con. Now, I used to detail these trips in exhaustion where I film everything, but I noticed I never had fun. I'd rather have fun and then share what I can with you. But thank you for watching. Please hit that like button. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.